For those who are able to study or intern abroad, it can be a big decision. There's so many options and so many different programs for people out there that most of them don't really know where to go. And this decision can have a big impact on the kind of perspectives, lessons, and experience you gain when going overseas. So I'm making this video to give a few tips to help people survive out in the wild and get what they want to get out of their trip. The first thing you want to do is go talk to um, your counselor. Usually, universities will have a counselor who's specifically there to kind of put you in the right direction. Um, and also do your own research. I personally didn't do as much research going in to these first initial meetings with my counselor that I think they could have helped. So do your own research. Um, I always had an idea of where I wanted to go, but not really what I wanted to get out of it. And there's so many opportunities to intern abroad, especially if you're trying to get a foothold outside of the United States. This can be very advantageous to you. Look at everything your institution offers and make a short list of your top choices. Uh, Make a pros and cons list. Think about the culture, the lifestyle, the climate. Define what your academic, professional, and personal goals are as well. Do you want to learn or improve a foreign language? Are you trying to earn specific credits for your major? And does this experience support your future career? A lot of people like to go study abroad and treat it kind of like a vacation when, that can come back to bite you in the future. Make sure you go to your classes over there and make sure that you get everything you can out of it. It is definitely a time to have fun and meet new people, but also gain perspectives and certain experiences that can be advantageous for you when you finally um, go into your career. Advisors can help, but don't necessarily rely on them for everything um, because only you know what you need um, and what you want. Of course, listen to their advice, but especially for longer programs, they're going to kind of let you do your own things by yourself, whether that's get your visa, set up housing. They're not going to be dragging you along the whole process, and you have to rely on yourself and get stuff done. Um, Before your trip, now that you've um, decided where you want to go, um, make sure you'll be able to um, be comfortable there. If you're taking certain medications, research the availability in your host country. Um, Talk to your doctor. Make sure you can get um, what you can uh, while you're away, and maybe stockpile on a certain thing. Learn about how health insurance works where you're going. Um, a lot of places um, in Europe have good systems, and your institution may offer an insurance policy that you can use overseas. Also, learn about the laws before you go over to these places. A lot of people make silly mistakes, um, with small laws, and they uh, sometimes have to pay a fine, which is no good, especially if you're traveling on a budget. There's a lot of little things that are different from the United States or wherever you're from. If you decide to go somewhere to study abroad, make sure you know how the legal system works just a little bit, and you'll thank me later. Learn how people dress too, learn how they communicate, look up social expectations and behavioral norms. Not everything's going to be the same. Um, how people greet each other, how people act in public. Um, Certain things like tipping is not the same everywhere. I know in America we're always expected to do that, but in some countries it could be seen as rude. And you never want to be taken the wrong way. And if you go the extra mile to learn these customs, people will really appreciate it, and you can make some deep connections with people. When you go abroad, um, you're going to be asked about the president. You're going to be asked about this or that because America's in the public eye of the whole world, and um, everybody has opinions. Just make sure to be neutral. Um, you don't have to lie or anything, but be respectful, and you can always just decline to talk about it if you don't want to talk about it. Consider also how your identity may be perceived. Um, some countries you may not be necessarily too comfortable in based on, the things you do back at home. People are definitely going to have a perspective about how you are before they even meet you. Um, Consider also the language you speak. If you're going to a place um, where English is not the first language, do a little research. If there's going to be some points where you're going to have to use their language. There's going to be someone you come into contact with that does not speak yours, and there's going to be a barrier there. Obviously, there's a bunch of technology that makes it possible for people that don't speak the same language to communicate, but sometimes that can take too much time. And if you go um, and put in a little extra effort, you can mitigate that and have a even better connection with somebody. Usually in major cities, though, if you're traveling abroad in Europe, there's going to be plenty of people that speak English. If learning a language is a goal for you, make sure it's practical for your career and interests. Also, be prepared for the academic system, or just be prepared for how different schools can be in other countries. Um, I know in certain places it's a lot more rigorous than the United States. And in the United States, people can get away with certain things that you cannot in other places. Um, Learn about the grading scale for sure. Um, most European countries do a 10-point grading scale, which is different from the United States. Teaching styles vary. Um, the way the classes are set up, usually they're a little more reliant on test scores rather than participation, attendance, and class projects, for example. Professors who speak English too for their classes, I know in some institutions there will be classes for um, people who speak English. A lot of times these professors um, can have a little trouble with English, even though they know it very well. There will be some differences in the way they say things, which can come off as a little complicated um, and maybe convolute the message they're trying to portray. Um, Learn about the passing requirements for your institution. Just because in your school abroad, um, they require a 5 to pass, a 5 out of 10, your institution back home may require a 6, for example. So make sure you're shooting for your institution's goals and talk to your counselor to clear that up before you go and learn overseas. Learn how students your age spend their free time as well, and balance social life with academics. It's very fun to make friends and go out every once in a while. At the end of the day, if you're going for a credit bearing visit, then you will have to pass your classes, and you have to learn about your work life balance, how it works for you, how other people can do it. not just there to have a fun time, which is important, but you're there to learn, grow, and immerse. It's not really a vacation. Also, once you go there, uh, do research on transportation. Depending on where you live, you may have to commute to school, and you may need a transit card. You may have to get an appointment for this card. How do you get that appointment? Research um, these possibilities beforehand, and you'll have a smooth transition. Um, I know in Spain, you can get a Metro card in Madrid a few different ways, um, by appointment, in person, or online. It can be sent to you, or you can get it right there at your appointment. Just make sure you research this so you won't be stranded uh, once you get there, because a lot of people uh, need to commute to school because of rising housing costs and many different reasons. In terms of where you'll live, research your housing early. A lot of people um, find their apartment or their living situation um, very close to the date of departure for their trip. I personally went through a third party website to find an open apartment outside of the city. Some people do homestays, or some uh, host institutions provide housing. And sometimes that's not guaranteed. So make sure you also have a fallback, and make sure that you vet these third party companies. Um, if you can get a Zoom call with them, that would be perfect. If you can see a physical location on a video, um, a Facebook post, Instagram post, for example, make sure you know that the person you're talking with is real. Identify what could be um, a scam attempt. And if anything seems fishy, do your research, ask questions, learn how deposits and rental laws work as well. Um, Sometimes you can get into muddy water with these companies, and you need to know your rights as a foreign renter and how things are done in this said country. Um, there's a bunch of different forums that answer these questions, and all this information is available online. Also, protect your personal information. Don't give your info just to anybody online. Like I said, when you vet these people, um, you'll be able to tell if you can trust them or not. And also study the place you'll live. Study a map. Look at where in the city you'll be. Um, Plan out, uh, where you'll get your groceries from. You know, if there's places to eat, if the part of town you're living in is safe or not. It's just good to know your surroundings before you get there so you'll be prepared. Um, a lot of people save this for later, and when they get to their apartment or their homestay, they kind of have to figure it out as they go, and that can put you a few weeks back when, if you decide your housing early and do good research, you'll be able to know what's around you, and you will already feel comfortable when you get there. To conclude, choosing a host country is about more than just location. It's what fits your needs and your wants and your lifestyle. Through researching thoroughly, reflecting honestly on your goals, and keeping an open mind, you can find exactly what you need for your future. Studying abroad is meant to push you outside your comfort zone while helping you grow academically and personally. These experiences will be with you the rest of your life. A lot of people get put into uncomfortable situations, and if you can deal with it alone abroad, you can for sure deal with it in your home country. Make sure when you go out to respect the people and laws of your host country, immerse yourself fully, and the experience will stay with you forever. Thank you.